Sam.
Andrew.
I gotta tell you, man, I was so moved by the film this week.
Yeah.
A passion project. For an artist inspired by an artist that has really inspired him, that I have started development on a biopic about an artist that really means a lot to me.
Really? What artist?
I'm doing the Benson Boone movie. If you've noticed, I've had the mustache for a while now.
Wait.
I've been trying to get in the character. Yeah.
You're doing a little method acting here?
Yeah. After the hit that's going to be Michael, I want to get it fast tracked to the next biggest star, Benson Boone. So I reached out to them. They have my pitch deck. We're in pre-production.
Wow. So, and you'd be playing Benson Boone.
I would be Benson. I'd be the titular.
Is there a working title?
Benson. Boone.
Boone. I just got chills.
I think we got some pitch people you come in and try to market us. But, the one word name is kind of all the rage right now.
It's hot. It's very hot right now.
Yeah.
I guess Boone is better than Benson.
Benson, you think of the regular show guy, you think he's getting his own movie.
Oh, yeah, Benson movie.
Yeah, I'm kind of at a spot right now too where it's like his life isn't that interesting. So I'm going to make up something that happens to him.
So you're going to take some liberties? Do you have an elevator pitch for the listeners?
Yeah, so it's kind of like about what the country went through like post 9/11. And Benson is a young soldier who enlists after 9/11. And he goes overseas and he sings his songs and he does his flips on the military base, and he unites everybody. It's not about oil anymore. It's about flipping.
This is interesting. This definitely has something. It's kind of like, it's kind of like about the Iraq War, but obviously we're struggling
Cheney.
today. It's very prescient.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He was playing my father.
Who?
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Oh, that's a perfect cast.
Mm-hmm. He's my father, Benson Boone Sr.
You two are dynamite together. You guys were previously in, you did a movie with him last year, right?
The Kick-Ass 3, it's not coming out yet.
Right, but you guys wrapped on that.
Yeah, it's kind of a development hell. I mean, it's like filmed, but nobody wants it.
Oh, it's like development hell after it's been filmed?
Yeah, it's very strange. It was going to be a tax write-off, but it's like a star-studded cast. I mean, like, Jim Carrey's back.
Okay, sure.
After he said he wouldn't promote. Yeah. He's come back for Sonic 4 and Kick-Ass 3. I think he dies in 2, but we had to get him back.
He's only doing sequels that are past the second sequel. It has to be either the third or fourth or fifth film.
Yeah. So he's doing like Jedi Starfighter. He's gonna do that new Star Wars.
Eternal Sunshine 3.
Yeah. Secret Wars.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Secret Wars.
Secret Wars. Honestly, that kind of is what that movie is about.
Well, Boone sounds phenomenal, dude.
Yeah. Do you want to hear my impression of him?
Yeah.
All right. So this is kind of the opening scene of the movie. So picture it's like gunfire. It's gunfire. It's kind of like a drone shot going over like a battlefield.
Sick.
And then it cuts to me, and I'm riding on top of a tank. Okay. And you think I'm charging in a battle. I'm stopping the tank. I do a flip. I catch the grenade or whatever shot out of a tank. Like, the
rocket.
A rocket? Yeah, rocket. A rocket.
A missile.
Missile. I catch it. I flip over it. I ride it. I turn the course. I'm riding the rocket.
Wow.
I turn it. I turn the angle. I'm headed right towards another tank that I'm going to blow up. And I just go, Moonbeam, I scream, thinking of your blue jeans. And it feels so... Boom, Benson. Huge title card. I jump out of the explosion. I'm charred. I'm instantly charred.
Hard.
I'm on the ground. The title card's above me. I'm burning. They're trying to put me out. Like, instantly got a med evac on me. And then it goes back from there.
freeze
tells
frame.
the story of his life. Yeah.
Aaron Taylor Johnson in the delivery room giving birth to you.
Yeah. Mystical, magical.
Oh, and then it's like
it.
a montage. Montage of Boone's first 12 years on Earth.
Yes. Yes.
Intercut
of Aaron
with
Taylor Johnson getting pregnant.
Bush archival footage.
Cheney.
The whole nine.
Cheney shooting that guy with the rifle. Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah, you guys sourced some
Immaculate
footage
Conception
from Vice.
Yeah.
It takes place in the Vice universe.
Welcome to Shelf Warmers.
Welcome to Shelf Warmers.
Boone.
I just got chills. Welcome to Shelf Warmers. I'm Sam.
And I'm Andrew.
And this is the podcast where we watch and discuss movies from the 2010s, the teens, also known as the pump and dump period of Hollywood. Not exactly a golden age, but definitely a time of high fertility for old Tinseltown.
It was so fertile, in fact, that we did not see many of the movies produced. So they were good, they're bad, or just meh. We're going to cover them all. If it's been sitting on the shelf, well, it's time to take it down, Sam. What are we taking down today?
Today, we're taking down a film that when I told my father, we were just finishing dinner last night, and I said, Dad, it's shelf warmer time. We're going to watch Miles Ahead, the 2015 biographical drama directed by Don Cheadle in his feature directorial debut, which Cheadle also co-wrote.
And produced. And composed music for and stars in.
As Miles Davis. And he was like, well, is it really a shelf warmer if I've never heard of it?
Yes.
I was like, yeah, that's kind of part of it.
He like slams his hands on the dinner table. All of the forks like fly in the air. Is it even a shelf warmer if I've never heard of it?
It doesn't count. I've heard of all the shelf warmers up until now. Now you're coming here with Miles Ahead. I
did see your dad on last week, and he went, you, or something. Like he pointed at me, like, you. And I was like, oh, is this going to be about the numerous times I have shit talked to him on this podcast? And he goes, you haven't seen Argo? And like, I'm sure Argo is a great movie, won Best Picture, I know that. But as like the one movie he's like upset I haven't seen is Argo.
It's a very personal film for my old man.
Was he over there?
He was over there. He just he has these like memories of himself as like a 9-year-old growing up in the 70s. And like he remembers Jimmy Carter as president, and any movie that takes place in that era and has Bryan Cranston in it is just like an immediate A+ for him.
So what, he's a big fan of The Infiltrator?
He loves that movie.
Really?
Yeah. Great Who needle drop in that movie. Eminence Front. Check it out.
Have you seen it?
Me and him saw it in the theater.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah, we're covering Miles Ahead today, which honestly, last night I went to my local IMAX theater, and I was under the impression that they were going to be playing the 11th anniversary 4K reissue of Don Cheadle's Miles Ahead, starring Don Cheadle as Miles Davis.
Because it's been big on TikTok.
Yeah, I mean, it's everywhere. But they were actually playing Speed Racer reissue.
Which is a random time to re-release this movie. It's not like the 15th, it's not the 20th. I was kind of like,
yeah, it's just
why
kinda,
like,
as I was
doing it.
As I was watching it, I was like, oh, this must have come out in 2006. And it's like the 20th anniversary.
Nope. Oh, wait, right?
Yeah, oh, wait.
So
kind of disappointing.
Just to briefly touch on that, because I was the one that convinced you to go see this movie. Like, you know, like not that you were like, oh, fuck Speed Racer, but you were busy, and I saw it with some of our friends on Monday, and I remember coming home Tuesday, and I said, Sam, you have to see this movie again. It is incredible. It took my breath away.
And I booked tickets for the Miles Ahead IMAX screening initially, but I guess there was more demand for Speed Racer this week, so what they did was they played Speed Racer Monday. They had Miles Ahead IMAX screenings planned for Tuesday.
Yeah, so
And
it's in
it
Dolby now,
seemed-
right?
Yeah, so they pushed Miles Ahead to Dolby and played Speed Racer in IMAX last night, which was pretty sick.
Yeah,
Pretty sick.
and it was funny too because I thought that was strange because I knew that everyone was so excited for Miles Ahead, but I saw who the IMAX reps were.
Oh,
And it was the little boy and the chimp from Speed Racer wearing like, and they were on each other's shoulders and wearing an IMAX shirt. So I think they just tricked a lot of theaters.
that's really disheartening. I don't know why these films have to be pitted against each other.
No, and I mean, like, Speed Racer could have had his moment. It's the 10th anniversary of Miles Ahead, actually, because it came out April 2016.
Oh, was it
Released.
2016?
It premiered at New York Film Festival in October 2015.
See, you really can't believe any release date you see online. Here it was.
Real quick, also, this opens against Meet the Blacks and God's Not Dead 2. So really huge weekend.
I don't think
Huge
I've
weekend
heard
for
of
the
either
films.
of those.
Yeah.
Who's in Meet the Blacks?
I think it's a weigh-in spoof. I could be incorrect. Let's see. Meet the Blacks. Meet the Robinsons is first one that pops up.
Mike Epps. Never heard of this. The poster looks.
It is not
kinda
weigh-ins. I was
familiar.
incorrect. Yes, Mike Epps, Deion Taylor directed. Mike Tyson and George Lopez. Wow, you got a great film on your hands when those two are in it.
That's like when Spielberg and Scorsese collab on something.
Yeah, it's like you see Lopez, or it's like you see Lopez, and you're like a Shark Boy and Lava Girl, and you see Tyson, you're like, oh, The Hangover, our greatest films. And the stars are all together in Meet the Blacks, 2016.
I did think a lot about Robert Rodriguez and Spy Kids during Speed Racer last night.
Oh, it's very similar to that.
I just think after watching Speed Racer last night, I feel like is it maybe like one of the greatest movies of the century?
Oh, it's literally an incredible film.
Like, are people going to be talking about Speed Racer 25 years from now?
In the same way as The Matrix? Honestly, maybe.
Because my memory of the movie, I mean, I saw it when it came out.
Same.
I don't think I revisited it over the last whatever years.
I have not either.
But at the time, like, it was almost like a punching bag. It was kind of treated like the prequels.
It was a joke.
Because it looked so crazy. But nowadays, that look is, I don't know. What do you make of it?
I said the Megalopolis is like if Conor O'Malley had made the Star Wars prequels. I think that Speed Racer is almost like if Tim Heidecker had made the Star Wars prequels. Like, it looks like it will go from shot to shot looking like a YouTube poop sketch to looking like the greatest film of all time, and I mean that like an endearing way. And the heart and the raw emotion,
really good
there,
script.
And I also think they found the perfect actors. There are certain actors who can deliver like who can like deliver the cheesy but earnest dialogue of the Wachowskis, like John Goodman, and Susan Sarandon knew exactly what they were locked into.
They're phenomenal in the film.
Phenomenal
They really
in this
are.
movie. And even like Emil Hirsch, like, like what happened to him? But
He's
we talking to
great.
the older racer, get that weak shit off my track. Like, makes me like want to jump out of my seat.
I was rocking back and forth in my seat. It was honestly thrilling to see. I'm glad you encouraged me to check it out in the theater.
And speaking of the theaters, this week is the release of Michael, the Michael Jackson biopic film directed by Anton Fuqua.
Which we actually got right this time. The last two episodes we were planning
slightly off.
They were both fucked up with The Mummy and Mother Mary, two movies I still haven't seen.
I have not seen either. I want to see Mother Mary. I will try to.
Yeah, me too. But yeah, Michael's coming out. Miles Teller is in Michael. Miles Teller, Miles Davis.
I did think this was the Miles Teller film. At first, you pitched it to me.
Miles
I was like, what's about to make you a whiplash?
Yeah, what's the story there? I don't know if we mentioned this in I don't think we did because this is more of a La La Land anecdote. But Miles Teller was cast in La La Land. Did you know this?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he kind of got fucked over by Chazelle, and Chazelle brought in Gosling, and then Gosling becomes the Chazelle guy.
Which is the better pick. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
It absolutely is the better pick. I don't think Teller
kind of a bummer.
can... I don't know. Teller's a guy that really proved himself 12 years ago and has not proved himself since then.
I'm sure we'll get to some. There's like
He's
5.
been in Top Gun.
Well, the thing with Top Gun, they're actually re-releasing that, which I was cracking up about because it was like
And Jerry Maguire.
it was like 4 years ago or whatever. It's time to re-release Top Gun.
Well, because it's the 40th anniversary of the OG.
Oh, so they're throwing the original and the sequel? Okay.
Yeah, and then it's the 30th of Jerry Maguire.
Cruise.
Yeah.
Gotta stay relevant. But how...
And you know who's in Digger? And you know who's in Digger?
Who?
John Goodman.
Oh, Goodman's back.
All connected. His first a live action film in like 8 years.
Really?
Yeah, crazy.
I loved seeing him on the IMAX screen with his big ass mustache.
When he fights that ninja, it's like the greatest thing of all time.
Hilarious.
Enough about Speed Racer though.
But yeah, Miles Teller, like, he's kind of the most famous actor in Michael.
Is Colman Domingo more or less famous than him?
I think slightly less, but I think his star is rising.
He has the Oscar nominees. Or he's the Oscar nominations, right? He's two.
I was like,
Teller.
He has nominees trapped somewhere.
He's friends with him. Colman Domingo.
Colman Domingo, I have many Oscar nominees in my basement. But yeah, this is kind of in the wake of what I consider this sort of... The music biopic is always relevant, basically from the start of rock and roll. Like the fifth, honestly, if you go back to the 40s, you'll find biopics on like George Gershwin and Cole Porter. Like I think Cary Grant plays Cole Porter in a movie. Like Hollywood has always been fascinated with the music biopic. And
sure,
I mean, obviously there's movies about real people, but specifically about the music acts through all genres. There's something about the formula and the clear-cut story, the rise and the fall, that I personally adore. And I'm not. I'm not a music biopic hater.
Are there any like great ones from like the 30s and 40s? Or like what's like you know what I'm saying? Like what's like a great one that
to me, Yankee Doodle Dandy, starring James Cagney as George M. Cohan, who did Over There, Over There. You know, all these old World War I era American show tunes.
Yeah.
Or Yankee Doodle Dandy, of course, in the title. But that movie, to me, is genuinely great. And it's cool because you have James Cagney, who at the time was known as...
a mob guy.
Yeah, like a mob guy. On film.
Yes.
And then he turns around and he's tap dancing down the White House stairs at the end of the movie. And it's just an incredible performance. I think that's also what kind of drives the music biopic hype is these actors who can really sink their teeth in these really just characters. Like that's kind of what like people. Anytime someone's like, "Oh, music biopics are boring," like they're all the same. They're just stories. Like they're and if you watch movies that are not biopics, they basically follow the same structure.
Yeah. Well, two things I'd like to say. One, you know who I always like to see? The tap dance to White House or tap dance down the White House stairs out of the building.
Who?
Mr. Trump.
Mr. Trump.
Mr.
Tap
Trump,
dance your way out. I would love to see him just try and tap dance and just fucking eat shit. Falling down the stairs. If he fell down the stairs, he would He'd look like Peter with his arm.
He gets pushed like how Janice, like in season 4 of The Sopranos, Janice pushes Ralphie down the stairs. He like ragdolls the bottom. My back.
Andrew's binging The Sopranos right now.
It's not a binge. It's not a binge. I'd like to make that clear. I'm not binging. I'm not purging. I'm watching a couple episodes every week.
But you know that
there's a difference.
That zeitgeist comment.
Joey
in
Pants
season
reference.
4, in season 4 of The Sopranos, when Janice throws Ralphie down the stairs, that common turn of phrase.
You know Joey Pants? No, I don't know. Cypher from The Matrix?
Yeah.
Bound? Oh, have you seen him in The Fugitive? He has hair then. He has hair still. Midnight Run?
He has hair.
Still has hair.
Risky Business. He has whack-ass hair.
I've never seen that.
Ooh. Andrew Gap. Ring the bell. Yeah. Andrew Gap. Go,
we're not talking.
Go.
And we're not talking about my thigh gap.
We will never talk about your thigh gap on
this podcast. We're never going to discuss my thigh gap or Sam's thigh gap.
Yeah, let's talk about what this podcast isn't. This is not a thigh gap pod. This is a movie podcast.
But we will talk about age gap.
Sure.
You know, so we'll call out Alec Baldwin, married to a woman 20 years younger than him. You know?
Alec Baldwin. If there's any Alec Baldwin superfans out there, I feel like they're probably like, I'm not so sure about these Shelfwarmers guys.
No, but
like they love Alec Baldwin, but they kind of
we do love Alec Baldwin. He's very fun to make fun of, but we also adore him. Speaking of making fun of, I was going to say, I think the issue that people have though with the music biopic is is Walk Hard,
which is
Walk Hard
one of our favorite movies.
It is the perfect way to take down. Because I think what Walk Hard does versus like Airplane or Scary Movie is I think that a Scary Movie loves horror movies, so it's like kind of embracing that. Airplane loves those old movies of like, you know, they grew up like, you know, like watching that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's constant ways to love. I think Walk Hard has a utter like disdain for the music biopic, so it like torches it.
Really?
In a way that's not, yeah.
Because I actually think it's in line with the other two, where you have to love the genre to write that stuff, where you get the scenes so perfect. And the music in the film is genuinely good from Dewey Cox. If you don't know, Walk Hard is the Apatow and Friends, John C. Reilly starring music parody biopic.
I think that, okay, let me clarify. I think that it wants something like better out of these movies.
Yeah.
Where I think that like, you know, like scary movies, like, aren't these tropes so funny? I think Walk Hard is like, we can do this like better. You know? I think it has love for the musician, but not for the product.
True.
Is how I would read it.
And it comes out
maybe
like
I'm wrong.
It comes out like right after Walk the Line, sorry.
Yes, which is a direct parody of.
Yeah, which is kind of, at the time, that was a huge Oscar movie, as these movies tend to be, which I think is kind of interesting. Because to me, I like to enjoy a music biopic not as like this prestige Oscar movie. I like to watch them the way people watch like B horror movies.
Okay.
Or like crazy crime
like pulp
action
trash
movies. Yeah, like to me, like I just love like, okay, it's about this person and it's going to be completely fabricated and bullshit. And there's going to be that one scene where they're doing the thing and everyone's losing their minds. Like, oh my God, he's doing or she's doing the thing. Like this is what they were meant to do. Like I just love all those beats.
He's gotta walk that line.
It's gotta walk the line. Walk the Line is kind of like the cradle to grave model, where we're showing the whole life.
The whole life.
And then Walk Hard, like you said, kind of flames it. And no movie can really be seen the same. I feel like it got it became relevant again last year with the Bob Dylan movie.
Sure. Which I think is better, but it still is like just in that thing now. Where everything is kind of
It's a tough.
everything kind of falls into the category of spoof.
I think the biggest problem that these movies face is, especially when they're in the past, which most of them are, obviously. Like, if you watch like the beginning of Mad Men, of a show that's from the aughts that takes place in the 60s, like the pilot, like some of the dialogue is very much like, here we are in 2008 writing about the 60s. Sure. Like it's like tongue in cheek almost.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I'm Miles Davis and you guys know who I am. So I'm going to say something kind of like this, which I probably wouldn't fucking say, but
yeah,
it's a movie about Miles Davis. Like,
I do love that scene. In the Mad Men pilot where Don's like, I phone you or like you phone me.
Yeah, he's struggling with the modern tech.
Yeah. No, he's saying like he's gonna call him or you're gonna call me, but he's saying almost like a caveman. Like I don't know. I feel it doesn't really fit Don.
Oh,
I phone you. I phone you. And the guy says, iPod. And he says, no, iPhone.
iPod Touch.
iPod Touch you? No. I phone you. Sally, I phone you, Sally.
iPhone.
How do you land on like a Rocket Man versus like a Bohemian Rhapsody, where in Rocket Man, Taron sings all of the songs, coached by Elton John, versus a lip syncing in Bohemian Rhapsody for Rami Malek?
It's tough. I kind of prefer it to be the actor singing.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
yeah, same.
It's a movie. Why not just have the actor sing it? And if you, obviously the music is why the movie exists. So just go enjoy the music and then meet the movie on its own terms.
That's where I land. And I like that it's an actor doing a take on these iconic songs. But talking to my parents, I've realized that they just want to go to the theater and like hear the songs.
I'm so glad you mentioned this because I didn't have this written down. But now that you say it, this is a huge aspect of I think the main demographic of people who enjoy the music biopics.
Yeah.
Which are parents and grandparents who really, what's that thing?
It's like you have an iPhone.
You always say it with your dad, like you'll be watching something with him and he just feels the need to point out shit.
Yes.
They love to feel like they're in the know. Like they're familiar. They're safe with these songs. And yeah, they do get a little bit rubbed the wrong way when it's not note for note. But no. you and I, who don't have as much of a, we don't have a long history with Elton John just because we've only been here for a few decades. We're more inviting to those interpretations than just cut and dry.
Sure. It's also like comforting to them in some weird way. Like, I know that song.
Oh, Live Aid. I was fucking at home watching TV.
Huge moment. Oh, I remember that. I was drinking a beer.
Yeah, it's always, I remember that.
I remember that. That's kind of like, that's like for them, or that is for them like it was for us, like when Ant-Man and Falcon met.
Yeah, we're going to look back and be like, oh, wow.
I remember that. I was seeing Ant-Man. I was 14. It was the coolest thing ever. I remember that. Live
Aid and Falcon.
Ant-Man meeting Falcon.
Kind of the same cultural weight. But after Walk Hard, you kind of get this, to me, this second wave or fourth, fifth wave of music biopics in the Shel Former era where they do try and get a little more quote unquote artsy, like miles ahead.
Beach Boys.
Yeah. Love and Mercy, which has Paul Dano playing young Brian Wilson, John Cusack playing older Brian Wilson. And it's not the full picture. It's like it takes place around the Pet Sounds recording, and then later when Brian Wilson's struggling with Paul Giamatti actually plays his crazy manager.
And then what's the Bob Dylan one that you love by Todd Haynes?
Oh, I'm Not There, which is honestly completely breaks the form. I didn't even write that down because I think of that. Like that movie is...
It's a whole separate thing.
It's about the myth of Bob Dylan, which that's why I struggled with...
Yes.
What's it called? How does it feel? What was that movie called?
A Complete Unknown.
A Complete Unknown. Yeah. I was just... It reminded me of one segment of the Todd Haynes movie, but it wasn't as good as...
Yeah. It's also worth noting that one of the Sopranos episodes ends with a Bob Dylan song. And I knew it was Bob Dylan, but Jill was like kind of at the end of the episode, like, you know, like she was thinking. And I was like, oh, about the episode? And she was like, no, I know this is Bob Dylan. I was like, okay. And she's like, yeah, but I know it's Bob Dylan because of Sam's impression. He was really doing the song. I don't remember which one it was.
Singing a song.
But that was... Yeah, but she was like, I know it's him because of Sam's impression of him. I was like, oh, I don't know if that's a insult to Bob Dylan or a compliment to Sam.
I didn't know I had such a distinguished Dylan impression. But
I feel like, I don't really know like any time you've done it in front of her. Are you meeting up with my girl behind my back to do Bob Dylan impressions?
I call up your girlfriend and I just go, hey, where have you been, Jill? And where have you been? When Andrew is home.
I did a Cage impression for her.
Oh, yeah.
And I could tell she was in a good mood because she asked me to do it again. She liked it so much. I was like, you have never asked me to do an impression for a second time.
Play it again, Sam.
It was after Snake Eyes. And I was like telling her about the movie. And she's like, that sounds awesome. And then she was like, oh, like, and then she was asking about like him. Because I don't know, I don't know. I was like, he's kind of like it's an early insane Cage performance.
It's kind of
off the rails.
It's like The Turn.
Yes, exactly. And I was like,
where he goes from normal actor, Raising Arizona, Moonstruck,
where he's like doing funny performances, but he's not completely like off the exactly like off his rocker. But I did the, I don't know where I got this with line from because it's not a line from Snake Eyes. So I went, if she's my brother, sister's mother, daughter, then who am I? And she was like, that was really good. I was like, thank you.
Play it again. Rewind. What does he say? He's like, I am the king or something. Snake Eyes.
He's a couple fantastic reads in that movie.
Phenomenal movie.
Phenomenal reads. We probably should talk Miles Ahead. I mean, we're almost 40 minutes into this episode.
But yeah, Miles Ahead is kind of in the Love and Mercy vein, where it's just kind of a snapshot of Miles Davis.
Yeah, and I like that about it. I like the flashback. So it kind of is in two timelines. It's in early in his career, and it's his marriage to his first wife and the falling out of that. And then it's him in 1980. He's not released an album in 5 years, and he's kind of on a bender. Mm-hmm. And it jumps between those two periods.
And this movie is almost entirely bullshit. Like nothing.
Yeah, it's all made up.
It's really just. I think the way Cheadle described it was like if it's a movie that Miles Davis would have been in the time of like the late 70s, where it's almost like a movie about like Miles Davis, where he's playing a version of himself, and there's shootouts and car chases, and people are doing blow, and people are getting shot in the hip and whatever else. But
I like that though.
But it's not entirely bullshit, because certain segments within this kind of heightened 70s crime movie actually bear some truth. Like one of his wives actually did shoot him because, quite infamously, not a great partner, Miles Davis.
No, yeah.
By all accounts, very abusive. But he actually did get shot in the hip in a domestic incident. But in the movie...
All right, was that the boxing ring?
Yeah, the boxing, which is a crazy surreal climax to this movie, which we'll get to.
Awesome. Yeah.
But yeah, Cheadle kind of wanted to do something that was free form, almost like jazz, which to me I always kind of laugh at. Like Clint Eastwood made that movie Bird about Charlie Parker, and it's almost a 3-hour movie, and it's like horribly paced. And Clint Eastwood, who's like a jazz aficionado, was like, well, we paced it like a jazz composition. And I was like, oh, well, maybe you should paste it like a movie, because this 2-hour and 40-minute movie does not feel very quick.
It's also so funny knowing that he only does like one take. So, he was out of there like so quick.
Let's
like,
improvise
like 3-hour
this.
movie shoot. You're like, we're going to be here for months and months. He got done in a month, probably 30 days
exactly.
flat. All right. Let's move on. Oh, we actually we messed up the notes. It doesn't matter. It's jazz.
It's jazz.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, he kind of wanted to.
I used to work with a monkey. I used to work with a chimp. You know that? So if we do it right or wrong, doesn't matter. If the chimp's good, I'm good. He's like seeing a chimp in the corner. He's like seeing Bobo.
Gordy?
Yeah. Gordy.
I would love a Gordy scene with Clint or Clint.
I used to work
fights
on Gordy.
Gordy.
I used to work on Gordy's home.
I did a guest spot on Gordy's home.
I've killed chimps stronger than you with my bare hands.
What I feel like we're doing like Bruce and Liam Neeson. We're not quite hitting Clint.
Are you over?
Go ahead, punk.
I was just going for the easy one. I was going to say, I have a very particular pack of bananas. Like, yeah, sure, I guess.
But yeah, the movie skips around in time. And
it's pretty straightforward in terms of the narrative, though.
Yeah,
which I appreciate. It's tight, hour 40.
Oh, you're in and out. And it kind of has this fictional adventure with a Rolling Stone journalist played by Ewan McGregor.
His first time on the pod, same for Cheadle. We love to see them both.
No, we did Dr. Sleep, dude.
Oh, true.
But Ewan is...
But they are two of our guys.
Love Ewan. Don Cheadle, I don't know if he's one of my guys.
Really?
Yep. Sorry.
The Oceans movies, like Rhodey, like he was on my screen a lot when I was a kid. I love Don Cheadle.
But like
he's very funny.
War Machine was never like one of my favorites. Sorry.
I think War Machine's cooler than Iron Man because I like that he's like a minigun on his shoulder. He's a minigun on his shoulder. That's awesome.
You're right.
Yeah.
But Ewan, I love
Boogie
Ewan.
Nights.
True.
So
on
good at Boogie Nights?
on my last Boogie Nights watch, I did think Cheadle was one of the best parts of the movie.
His face when the guy gets shot in front of him and there's the blood splatters on him. He's holding donuts. It's like
I love when he goes in
fantastic.
the donut shop. He's rubbing his hands. He's like,
Yeah.
oh shit! Like I just relate to
because that's
that
like
scene.
us. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like yes. Yeah.
Let me get some bear claws. Oh, apple fritter.
Should we get 2 pizzas or should we do half pepperoni or
Let's just get 3. Yeah, so Cheadle directs. He actually had some funny anecdotes about making this movie where his wife was like, after it was done, she was like, "You are never doing that again."
Wow.
Like he was
Yeah.
he was losing weight, his hair was falling out. He was so stressed about directing this movie and, like you said, producing it, writing it, starring in it. And it seems like it was pretty low budget. Like they had 9 picture cars. That was it.
Wow.
And they're driving around.
That is yeah. Oh yeah, that's really small.
And there's a scene in the club where Miles is playing the trumpet, and it's just very intense. He's really blowing the horn up. And the guy who's interviewing him was like, that scene was just so incredible in the club. And he's like, it's actually funny. During that scene, we had a track that we were playing to. And in reality, on set, the smoke alarm was going off. Like,
Wow.
you could hear fire engines outside coming to the location because they had set up the smoke alarm because there was so much smoke and haze in the jazz club. And he is still performing like he's Miles Davis during all that chaos.
That is awesome.
And he was saying something that I feel like we kind of relate to. on our much smaller scale, making dumbass short films. But he was so stressed out about making this movie that, and I've had this thought before where he was like, well, maybe a meteor will fall from the sky and there will be
I just won't have to go.
there will be an apocalypse and the world will be destroyed and I don't have to make this movie and it won't be my fault. It's out of my hands. A meteor has fallen.
Yeah, he's not directed anything since then, so I guess that has stayed with him.
Yeah.
He honestly, he probably was like, yeah, like hopping around the Captain America Civil War, like, the pamper me. Just make my life so easy.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably what it was. He was on these Marvel sets where he was literally living the life, and he was like, I could do this. And then they had a fraction of the budget.
Yeah, versus, literally like a $5 million budget versus like a $300 million budget.
Yeah. They were eating turkey sandwiches for Crafty. But yeah, the first scene of the movie is classic music biopic where Miles Davis is sitting there being interviewed. He's smoking.
I don't like that word jazz.
He has his raspy Miles Davis voice. And then we kind of cut to this shootout car scene briefly. Then we're in Miles Davis's house where he is kind of on a bender. We get a funny scene where he's listening to the radio, and it's basically like exposition where he's listening to the New York radio station, and the guy's like, Miles Davis has not been seen. He hasn't released any new music in like 5 years. Like, where are you, Miles? We miss you. And then Miles Davis like calls into the radio station. And is like, I'm right here. Like starts like fucking with the DJ. Yeah, which did actually happen. That part is true.
I could see that being real.
Then we kind of get this surreal vision of him seeing his first wife in the house. And it's sort of glossy and it looks like the 50s. And throughout the whole movie, you're kind of interlacing these two, like I said, two timelines. So it is trying to be something.
Yes. And I like it more when it's surrealist versus just using it as a flashback. I like like the breaking of his brain and the breaking of reality at the same time. That's like really fascinating to me. I think it looks incredible. Like I think Cheadle has a really cool visual style for this movie. The way he uses his transitions and like the match cuts, like is really, really interesting in a way that I was like, oh, he's elevating this kind of like basic script through his visual through his visual tone and style that he set for the film.
Yeah, there's one great scene where he's in an older Miles Davis is in an elevator at Columbia, and there's albums in the elevator, some of which are Miles records, and he kind of hears something in the elevator, and the elevator's actively like moving, going down, and he pushes the elevator, and like the wall of the elevator opens, and we kind of enter into this darkness, and we are kind of transported back to younger Miles in his prime on stage with the shorter hair, kind of like the image of Miles Davis that you might have. Yeah,
and it's funny because Cheadle kind of pulls off older Miles Davis because there's a little bit more like, prosthetics and hair and makeup stuff done.
Yeah.
But young Cheadle and young Miles Davis looks literally like nothing like Miles Davis. Like it just looks like Don Cheadle. Like he's not selling that to me at all. I mean, that's why I had a hard time engaging with it.
I think he looks the part. As young Miles?
I don't know. I don't really see the resemblance.
Well, the Davis family cherry-picked Don Cheadle to play Miles Davis.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, so he was interested in doing the movie, but he didn't really consider it until 2006 when Miles Davis was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And Davis's nephew was like, Cheadle's the only person who could play Miles. And then eventually Cheadle started developing this script and people just kept pitching him ideas about what the movie could be. And it wasn't until Cheadle came up with this concept, like what I was describing, where he would have Davis playing like a gangster, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And the family approved of it, probably because they were like, "Yeah, you want to make a made-up like crime movie with him? Yeah, go ahead. Don't even
Why
touch.
not?
Don't touch.
You don't touch the domestic abuse." Yeah,
Which they do kind of hint at, and it is pretty effective in the movie. Where towards the end of the
he's
film,
like scary.
yeah, he's having this fight with his first wife, but they drown out all the audio and they just bring in the jazz, and he just looks insane. And then like. It gets pretty intense.
Like he's like a steak knife like to her wrist, and you're like, oh my god, like
yeah.
And I do appreciate that. Obviously, they don't like dwell on it, but a lot of these musical biopics, they gloss over like the dirt.
Yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody, the most egregious in recent years.
Like Straight Outta Compton does it like a bit, but I appreciate that. Well, it doesn't really like dwell in the dirt. It acknowledges that the dirt is there.
Yeah,
it gets into him like not being a great guy.
Right. It's not total bullshit.
No,
which is kind of cool. Where it's like what I like the most of these music biopics, where it's like taking the spirit, quote unquote, of these people. Like on paper, it sounds great to just be like, oh yeah, we're making a movie about Miles Davis and it's going to be kind of free flowing and jazzy and improvised. And I think he pulls it off pretty well. The working title for the movie was Kill the Trumpet Player, which to me is like
a cool title.
10 times better than Miles Ahead.
Is. But it works. It doesn't work as well as if you're going to go for the general audience.
I did not realize how low budget this freaking
really
movie was.
Small.
Like there was crowdfunding on Indiegogo.
Really?
Yeah.
Had Ewan and him like work together at some point? Like, what was like Ewan's attachment? That's because I don't know. It feels like
it seems like Ewan and McGregor.
I like them.
Their stuff is the best part of the movie.
Yes, absolutely.
Where you have this kind of angling Rolling Stone, Cameron Crowe type guy trying to weasel his way into Miles's house, basically at the beginning of the movie. And the whole thing is like Miles has recorded this new tape, or he recorded some session a few months ago, and the Columbia, the studio, is like, oh, like the record company is like, Miles, like, come on, like we need more music from you. And he's like, don't rush me. And they storm into and Ewan's character is like, I was sent by Rolling Stone to cover your comeback, all this talk about comeback, which I love. And then he kind of grabs Ewan and they go to Columbia and he's like, who is this guy? And Columbia's like, we don't know anything about this. So then Ewan's been bullshitting Don Cheadle's character, Miles Davis. But yeah, he like flashes his gun at everyone. And that's where we're introduced to another shelf warmer icon,
Michael Stuhlbarg.
Michael Stuhlbarg as some crazy record guy.
Yeah.
He's like the manager, I guess, of the Lakeith Stanfield character.
Yeah, which is also, this is such an old movie that he's credited as Lakeith Lee Stanfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's in that, and he's like the young up and comer named Junior, which I found out later that's what Miles Davis was called by like Charlie Parker when he was first coming up, where he is, and this is kind of more I'm Not There territory, where you have Don Cheadle interacting with this Junior character, but Junior and the scenes with Lakeith Stanfield are kind of also inspired by early Miles Davis themes. Again, that's what you want from these movies. You want it to be kind of blurry and muddy, and
and make it weird. Also, like I feel like music is such an abstract art that like why can't you like just do what inspires you, and take the story in whatever direction like the music takes you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And again, I'm always in on a music biopic just because it's got a formula that I enjoy, and I like the variations on it. Because usually, especially today, they usually try and do something a little different.
There's always like one thing. Like like, Michael, we're not talking about the pedophilia.
The one
That's our new thing.
Or what's it? Rocket Man's kind of like a musical.
Yeah, which I think there's a better film in there because it got cut down a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But there's like, for Honky Cat, there's like, it's on YouTube. I recommend people go out and find it. There's like a 5-minute like dance sequence for that, which I understand why they had to cut it. But to me, that's like why you would see that movie,
right? Because it's different than certainly Bohemian Rhapsody, which is totally generic.
Was he even gay? We don't know.
Was he?
Did he kiss boys? Maybe. Every once in a while. Who hasn't?
Live Aid though. Remember Live Aid?
Oh, you remember when he rocked? Oh, that was good. Wasn't that good?
Wasn't that
times were good? He used to rock.
It was the 80s.
Was he gay? We don't know, but he rocked. He rocked hard. He rocked so hard your dad loved him. Your dad was born in 1935 and he loved Freddie Mercury. That's okay. You loved him too, remember?
Queen.
Do you think Harry Styles has ever been like, Harry, we just need the new record? He's like, $20,000. Oh, I'm gonna shoot you. I'm gonna shoot you in the fucking face.
I would love to see Harry Styles in a movie like this.
Oh, we're a season away from the studio from Harry Styles doing that.
Ooh, I'm excited to hear what they're doing on the studio now with the Madonna. This is actually relevant.
Madonna, yeah,
the Madonna biopic, which I guess got canceled, which I didn't realize. With Julie Gardner as Madonna.
That feels so strange. Also, like, couldn't you just do like Lady Gaga? Couldn't she just play her?
You want Lady Gaga to play Madonna?
Who cares? She doesn't look like her, but
wait, what?
She's beautiful, inspired by her.
What the hell? Where's this coming from?
She can make it work.
You don't want Julie Gardner?
I mean, just get a big star. Just get why not? Like you know what I mean? Just get Madonna.
But I was so happy to hear that Julie Gardner was going to be in it.
And you didn't have that turned off from your experience with her in Weapons, a movie you hate?
I loved her portion of that film. And then when it fucking cut away from her to some other bullshit storyline, I was like, well, what the hell? Wait, go back.
You really only don't like the Archer storyline, is what I'm taking. Because you like the Gladys stuff and you like the cop stuff.
Wait, who's Archer?
The junkie stuff.
The junkie stuff's hilarious.
Archer is Josh Brolin.
Yeah, wasn't a fan of that.
So you like most of the movies, just the Brolin stuff doesn't work for you.
I guess.
Yeah, the more you're talking.
Wait, Weapons is awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, then you get.
I'm glad we got that on record.
On air. Then you get this. Again, you're kind of just cutting back and forth between Miles in his peak in kind of like the Kind of Blue era. And then his kind of.
Are you a big Miles Davis fan also?
I did.
I'm not super familiar, but I'm not a huge music guy.
I did some last minute research this week. I listened to the one album that people say you should listen to, Kind of Blue from 1959, which has Bill Evans and John Coltrane on it. And that's sort of considered
the one to send to space, they say in the movie, right?
Yeah, it's like I'm one of the biggest albums ever, but certainly the biggest jazz record. But yeah, Miles kind of started playing bebop jazz, which was like kind of fast, upbeat, lots of changing chords.
And that was a really good impression of a trumpet, by the way.
I'm surprised. I'm changing the conversation. I want Jill to know me as the trumpet guy and not the Bob Dylan guy.
We gotta debut it.
I'm really good at it.
That honestly is really impressive.
But then he transitions into modal jazz, which I don't know what the fuck that means, but it's basically a more slower, more melodic, and that's kind of what you're seeing in this movie, where he's kind of first working that out. And basically what he did was, I mean, he's a musical fucking genius, but he comes up with these melodies and then he brings it to his band and they sort of start off with the melody and then they kind of go from there and improvise the whole thing. So if he should if you're gonna check out one
It's just like
album,
a Christopher Guest movie.
Christopher Guest is kind of like the Miles Davis
of filmmaking,
of mockumentaries. But if you're gonna check out one album, I think check out the one album that I also checked out.
I endorse it.
But yeah, he was originally drawn to the project to explore the creative process used by Davis, which kind of involved that more freeing kind of improvisational techniques.
I love that shit.
Love it.
Don Cheadle, just do it. I love that he's a British accent for some reason. Ocean's 11, because he was just like, sure.
And as a kid, I thought the British accent was his real accent, and when he was in Marvel, he was doing an American accent.
Oh, interesting.
Just a little dumb fucking thing I had in my head.
I think I never thought about it. I think I was worried about the world, probably.
You were cooking up the Benson Boone script early on. But yeah,
dreams.
Big Boone-sized dreams. But I think I like Don Cheadle enough. I don't know. Like,
well, clearly I'm a bigger fan, I guess. But yeah, he's fantastic. I think.
I'm looking at his filmography here. Where has he been, low key? He's in I Love Boosters, which I'm very excited about.
I'm excited about that too.
He was in White Noise. He was in
White Noise.
He was in Space Jam: A New Legacy. He was in that No Sudden Move movie, but yeah, Marvel.
Oh, he's fantastic in No Sudden Move.
So I haven't seen that.
I want to give a shout out to that. Maybe that's for my slate.
Maybe you've just seen more. Maybe you've just more well versed.
He's really good in No Sudden Move. He's very, very good at that. Yeah, he's also on Broadway right now. With him and Io Adibri.
Oh, right.
Adibri? Yeah, which I would like to see that play. Maybe I feel like one day you and I have to go see a Broadway play.
I feel like the obvious one was to go see Dog Day.
But I've heard that's like a comedy now. Which, Dog Day is not a comedy.
Bad.
It's weird that they're doing like a slapstick kind of comedy.
They say there's like shit humor. And
yes, I heard that too. Very weird. Very, very weird.
Bianca, my girlfriend, came up with what I think is an incredible comedy idea. It's like a drama parody, but instead of what's the worst thing you've ever done? It's what's the worst poop you've ever had? It's
I have options.
And it's like Alana Haim being like, Emma, what the fuck? Like, that's a horrible poop story. Do you like this movie?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, actually, we kind of haven't talked about that. I do like it. I think it's creative. I was engaged. I feel like I'm always kind of like basing how I like something now based off like how engaged I was. But, I feel like when I go to the theaters, I am always locked in. But at home, it's hard. There's so much shit happening, It's hard not to go on your phone sometimes at home. I really do struggle with that. And when there's like a tight, like 90-minute movie like this that has like two of my favorite actors, it's getting fantastic performances. It's like a fun kind of two-hander. It's very easy to do, like, toss my phone into the other room and just and sit down and enjoy it. I think it's shot really well. I like the handheldness of it. It's messy. It's very like surrealist and dreamy. I've always drawn to stuff like that. I think for like a first-time director, obviously he's a pro, but I love what he did with this movie. It feels like a real passion project of him, like having this idea and this being like, this is weird enough that I want to make this, and that's awesome to me. It
is cool to see, and Michael Stuhlbarg is playing like a character from a '70s movie. He has these dark glasses on. He has this big ass mustache. Ewan is great, I think, as the Rolling Stone journalist, always trying to get the story. I think that's a fun. Again, I think if you're a diehard Miles Davis fan, you might be a little disappointed. You might want a longer, more true, frankly, Miles Davis film.
Yeah,
but I feel like for us,
maybe he does deserve that. But also, I think he's also like weird enough that this is maybe the perfect kind of film for him like that.
Yeah, and the time periods are perfect to embellish it, I think, in this way. where you could kind of have the more surreal, kind of dreamy, like here we are in the 40s, 50s with the trumpet and the jazz, and then the more kind of coked out, like last 30 minutes of Goodfellas aspects of the Ewan McGregor stuff. Which honestly,
Huge
the movie
Henry Hill vibes.
Yeah, the movie starts and there's like a shootout with Ewan and Don Cheadle in the car, and it's like a brief flash, and I did not know what to make of that.
No, I neither.
I was like, wait, what the like? Are we eventually going to get to this? And then when it happens, it's basically Stuhlbarg is like this villain, like music guy who steals the tape.
Yes.
Another great thing in these music films about the tapes, the hidden tapes, the secret tapes. Like, where are these tapes? And Don Cheadle, as this sort of 70s crime star, is going in his car. He's limping around because his hip's all fucked up.
He wants his tape back.
He's getting that tape back. And Ewan McGregor is like this unwilling kind of helper along for the journey. And it kind of culminates at this boxing fight where Miles Davis knows that Harper, the Stuhlbarg character, is there with the tape. And he shows up, he points the gun at him like, I just want my tape. And that's when the time frames really start folding on each other. Like he sees his first wife across the room and it's like a ghostly figure. The band is playing in the boxing ring.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really fucking cool.
Looks really cool.
Also, Miles Davis is like super into boxing, and there's a great scene where Ewan McGregor and Don Cheadle are like sparring each other with the punching bag. And then it kind of culminates in this modern, surreal performance where Cheadle is, it's like the comeback, and Cheadle's
finally
on stage.
Hear the tapes.
Yeah, you hear the tapes. And there's these big, bold pop art colors. And you get this real band, like Herbie Hancock's there playing, who played with Miles back in the 60s. And it almost reminded me of like Sinners, where you're connecting the threads through this music for this final kind of almost documentary-like performance at the end, where Miles's artwork is being projected on screen. And it's pretty cool.
I think how it does like hurt it, though, is that it does kind of make it feel a little bit like Walk Hard, like, oh, you know, he had to go on this journey just so we could hear him play one time.
Dewey Cox has to think about his whole life right now.
Yes, which I think kind of hurts the movie a little bit for me. I was like, oh, like this is the big reveal, but I also do like to see him perform it like that. Sam, you got a slate for me, buddy?
Oh, I got a slate.
Sally Slate. Where can I find other movies like that?
First up, we got Elevator to the Gallows from 1958.
I've never heard this before.
Early French New Wave film by Louis Malle. And it's a cool, tight, 90-minute caper noir. And Miles Davis did the score for this movie.
Cool.
And it was kind of at this transitional point in his career where he was trying to figure out going from the bebop style into his more iconic sort of kind of blue era. And it's on Criterion now. There's all these extras involved in the film where you hear them talking about how Miles was in Europe at the time on tour. Louis Malle was a jazz fan, and jazz was very popular in Europe at the time. And he actually approached Miles Davis and was like, I would love for you to do the score for this film.
Are you Miles Davis?
Are you Miles Davis?
Miles Davis? See. I would love for you to. I don't know what voice I'm doing actually.
Sebastian from Little Mermaid. Or were you were slipping into
Oui, I was there to go. I can do that. Lumiere.
You
Miles Davis.
Wait.
Wow. What a fantastic performance by him. The candlesticks aren't burning, Miles. Miles.
But Miles and his band, in one night, they recorded the whole score for the movie.
That's awesome.
Where they were the film was projected. It's like a 90-minute movie. And he would just start playing as the movie was going on. and he would come up with these compositions, and they sound a lot like those late 50s records from him. And on top of that, it's just a really good movie. Second here, I got Bird, which I briefly talked about, from 1988, which has Forrest Whitaker as Charlie Bird Parker. Again, almost 3 hours, slow paced, but it actually does have those kind of surrealist moments. And similarly has a jazz musician struggling with drugs and struggling with domestic relationships. Check it out if you're into that. And then finally here, I have Mo Better Blues.
That's right up my alley.
Right up your alley. Mo Better Blues, Spike Lee's film from 1990, which is actually his follow-up to Do the Right Thing. And this is about the fictional jazz trumpeter Bleak Gilliam, played by Denzel Washington. And he's also struggling with drugs and relationships, and it's really good.
A thread here.
It's really good.
Yeah. Yeah, and shout out also to No Sudden Move of the Steven Soderbergh film.
Andrew Slay.
That's it. Now, Sam, I have a question for you.
I probably have an answer.
Okay. You have the option. You and Miles are hanging out. Trying to get him back.
Wait, Teller or Davis?
Teller.
Okay.
You want him to get his first Oscar nom. You know, you think he was robbed for Whiplash. Actually, did he get a nom for Whiplash?
Probably not.
Probably not. I feel like got overcrowded that year by J.K. and Chazelle. So
we digress.
You and Teller hanging out. You know, he's got that $400 million from his for his wine company or the fuck he has. And he says, Sam, do this cocaine with me. Do this cocaine with me. And you could say yes and hang out with Tellers, or you can go to the shelf and say, Miles, let's watch Miles Ahead on your big flat screen TV. Are you? What are you doing?
I'd like to track the progression of your questions from the early pod days to now.
I thought about making them like more structured. I thought it'd just be funnier if it's just me being like, Sam, you're hanging out with Miles Teller.
Or watch Miles Ahead. I'm going to watch Miles Ahead because this was a delightful, and I think something that really helps it is, as you mentioned, the hour 40 runtime.
Mm-hmm.
It's in and it's out. There's shootouts. There's music. And like you said, it looks good. So
isn't like Bohemian Rhapsody like
2:15?
It's like 2:15, something like that? That's too long.
How long is Michael?
Well, they stop at 1999, so maybe maybe short.
It's like 2 hours.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought Michael for sure was going to be like a 2:45, like epic Michael film.
Yeah. Also, really funny that Speed Racer has a live action chimp and the Michael movie has a CGI chimp.
Bubbles.
Every time I see that trailer and it cuts to CGI Bubbles, I laugh my ass off.
I think about the Mulaney sketch from last year.
Oh, so good with him and Langston Kerman. Yes. So funny. So funny. Yeah, Sam,
what are you doing?
I'm pushing the Coke off the table. I say, Miles Teller, no. Miles Teller, no.
No.
I am saying yes to Miles Ahead. And yeah, like I said, I kind of gave my thoughts earlier when you asked if I liked this movie. But yeah, it's good. I am all for celebrities doing these weird little small films as passion projects. I think it's awesome. Keep doing this. You know, he was doing this in between Avengers Age of Ultron and Civil War. Like, you know, like that's, yeah.
We love
awesome.
Cheadle.
Well, this has been our Miles Ahead episode of Shelf Warmers. As usual, rate, subscribe, follow, like on Instagram, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, share our reels, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, shelfwarmers_podcast. Thank you for listening. As always, we appreciate it. And Sam, what's next week for us?
I believe next week is Colossal?
Colossal, the Jason Sudeikis and Hathaway joint. Tim Blake Nelson.
Wait, Sudeikis
a lot of our
is in that?
Sudeikis and Hathaway, Tim Blake Nelson. It's like the main group.
Cool.
So Ted Lasso himself. So you know we'll be cheering with our biscuits and tea.
Believe.
Thank you for listening to Shelf Warmers. I've been Andrew.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you for listening to Shelf Warmers. If you have suggestions for films to take off the shelf, make sure to follow us at shelfwarmers.podcast or email us at shelfwarmerspod@gmail.com. New episodes out every Friday.